Despite the dirty past, Meghan pretends to be good to condemn Austin Powers' Asian women symbol. Hello, friends. Welcome to the hottest news of the day about the notorious hypocrite Meghan Markle on our Kate Middleton and the Queen News version 2 channel. Meghan Markle has caused a stir in the media when publicly criticizing the unbeautiful Asian female icon of the Austin Powers series. In the most recent episode of her Spotify podcast, Meghan Markle criticized Hollywood actors Mike Myers and Quentin Tarantino for using caricatures of Asian women to further stereotypes. In the most recent episode of Archetypes, Meghan Markle attacked the portrayal of Asian women in Hollywood films and television shows. The Duchess of Sussex looked at the Dragon Lady image of Asian women as being sexually chilly and endangering masculinity. Meghan attacked Mike Myers and Quentin Tarantino for their stereotyped depictions of Asian women. She criticized both men on the first episode of her Spotify podcast that aired following a 4-week sabbatical for caricaturing women as over-sexualized or aggressive. The Duchess of Sussex cited Kill Bill and Austin Powers as 2 instances of movies showing stereotypes of women of Asian origin when she discussed the issue with writer Lisa Lind and comedian Margaret Cho. Fook Me and Fook You, 2 Japanese characters in Austin Powers' Goldmember, came under fire for allegedly sexually tokenizing Asian women. Movies like Austin Powers and Kill Bill depicted these figures of Asian women as sometimes overly sexualized or violent, Meghan Markle observed. She stated to Ms. Cho, "The East Asian temptress, known as the Dragon Lady, is described in the screenplay as being both lethal and seductive. Many of the things we enjoy doing now incorporate this. But once the credits have rolled, this harmful stereotype of women of Asian heritage doesn't just stop." A sequence in which Lucy Liu's character O-Ren Ishii can be heard cutting off a crime boss's head is one of the few excerpts from both movies that were featured in the podcast. The aggressive Yakuza boss is heard in the video saying, "I collect your fucking head as the price you pay for either bringing up either my Chinese or American lineage as a negative." The character is a dragon lady who frequently uses her sexuality as a potent instrument of persuasion, but often is emotionally and sexually frigid and challenges masculinity, according to author India Roby. The Duchess of Sussex began the most recent edition of her podcast by recalling her humbling mother's first trip to a Korean spa. Meghan remarked, "For a girl going through adolescence, entering a room with ladies who range in age from 9 to perhaps 90, all waiting to receive a body scrub on one of these tables that are all lined up in a row is quite humiliating. I only desired a swimming suit. When I had recovered from my teenage shame, my mother and I would walk upstairs, sit in a room, and have a hot bowl of the tastiest noodles." In the last round of the podcast, the Duchess of Sussex praised Korean-American comedian Margaret Cho on her most recent work, Fire Island, and the latter acknowledged admiring Meghan Markle among other actresses. In her words, "I'm grateful. I adored that film. I really do adore Joel," actor Joel Kim Booster. "On set, we really spoke about you quite a bit. We were both just so enamored with you." Meghan remarked, "I see, really. I'm incredibly grateful for it. I'm really excited. I was saying, I'm chatting to Margaret Cho this morning as I went downstairs." The Duchess of Sussex also used her conversation with Ms. Cho as motivation when she urged her audience to be their best and authentic selves in spite of the labels that are being placed on them. Meghan's new podcast is devastating to Hollywood, experts say. One insider said, "Just checking out Queen Rania on YouTube, she has her own channel, and it looks like Meghan has poached, copied, and ripped off yet another person. Queen Rania put out a YouTube exclusive in 2008 for her introduction to YouTube. The Queen's video is called YouTube Exclusive, Send Me Your Stereotypes. So does Meghan ever have a single original thought in her head? Of course, she is unable to talk about stereotypes in the way that Rania intended, or that anyone with half a brain intends, but she probably figures she looks as good as Queen Rania, see makeup and face posting. You can take that to the bank, and thinks that she might pick up some of the Queen's beauty and intelligence. She would, of course, take Queen Rania as part of the POC community, whereas Queen Rania doesn't label herself that way at all. She's an Arab and a queen. Looks like she was a mashup of the Queen's video, along with an earlier podcast called Archetypes, also on Spotify, now defunct. Markle really is a drip, looking to make a splash. Groovy baby. Austin Powers is a parody that satirizes the 70s promiscuous culture. It's making fun of it, not necessarily endorsing it. Given Meghan Markle's limited capabilities, viewers of her podcast think that this woman is not qualified to condemn anything about Hollywood or the studios. One person said, "Strange complaint from a fifth-rate actress whose only roles, 31 of a few seconds and one in a soap, and game show were those where her function was to be the T and the A. Tight clothes, plunging cleavage, short skirts. If any of my paralegals had shown up at the office dressed as she was in that Suits thing, the first time I would have sent them home to change, the second time suspended them without pay for 1 week, and the third time fired them for being inappropriate and dressing like a mid-priced call girl." Markle is pointless, unable to recognize irony, completely humorless, and dull as ditch water. She's also divisive without any ability to create consensus and takes herself far too seriously. She must be hell to live with. This is the hypocrisy of the highest order. Your career was built on the sexualization of women. Maybe you regret it now, but don't pretend it didn't happen. We see you and we know what you are, cheap and nasty. What do viewers think when witnessing this hypocrite's public criticism of a famous studio? One insider said, "She is so perfect. Well, she thinks she is. And to her, that is all that matters. She hasn't achieved a single thing in her life that would indicate that anyone should be interested in her outpourings. I am offended, if I'm honest, that a two-bit American grifter thinks the world is hanging on to her words. Spotify ought to be thoroughly ashamed." The hypocrisy is breathtaking. A member of the Hollywood community thinks that she is in a position to lecture the rest of the world on virtuous conduct. I'm sure she wouldn't have said no if she'd been offered a part in any of those films. Kill Bill was aggressive regardless of race or color. She's talking rubbish. What do you think about the despicable criticism of an incompetent Z-lister like Meghan Markle? Let us know your thoughts below in the comment section. We hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this newsletter. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.